Oops.
Good morning, friends. We are here this morning with Sip with Stacy, and I have the distinct pleasure of interviewing Charmaine Hickey this morning, and she is the state president for the Women's Council for the state of Florida, which is one of our top big three, but more importantly, she has the most membership too. That's one other thing. But I just wanted to start off and say thank you so much for joining us today. And the idea behind this leadership live stream is to take a deep dive into leadership, but more importantly, how our leaders, especially our state leaders, are living the mission, vision, and value of our council. And I couldn't think of a better person to represent that for our council than Charmaine Hickey. So everyone, welcome Charmaine Hickey.
Thank you, Stacy.
Charmaine.
It's a pleasure to be here to talk about our state of Florida.
Oh, good.
I really
That's
appreciate
wonderful.
you inviting us to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. So let's just start off, Charmaine. You hail from the state of Florida. You're one of the top three state leaders, top of the three big, I should say. But let's talk about how many networks. I think it's about 22 networks or so.
No, 27.
27. Okay. 27.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe you have a couple that you are working on.
Yes, we are working to charter 2 other networks, hopefully to get it done by anywhere around June. But if not, definitely we'll be doing 2 more for this year.
Okay, wonderful. So you could have 29 possibly by the end of the year, which would be fantastic.
Yes.
That would be great. But you have more members than any state in our whole organization. So what is your membership up to now, Charmaine?
Well, I can just give you what I have a team that provide me with update every month. That update would come through about the 15th. But the last number we had was about 2,000. 2,000.
That's wonderful. That is just amazing. Now, Charmaine and I were talking. We always have the pre-talk before we go on live, and we both are suffering from allergies. So if you see us with tissues, that is the case. We've got watery eyes and we've got tissues, folks. So have a little grace with us this morning.
It's what it is, right?
It is what it is. So now we want to take a deep dive into Charmaine's leadership and talk about your leadership. Now, I've heard you at your installation talk about your leadership and the influence that your father had on you. But let's talk about where that really started in your life. Where did you see leaderships really surfacing, Charmaine?
Well, as you know, being a leader, sometimes I wonder, what does leadership look like? Mm-hmm. And what other people see when they see us. And I cannot tell you that I initially thought that I was a leader, but I knew that I could be very influential in whatever task whatever path I wanted to take. And in my younger days, maybe 20 pounds lighter, I used to play netball. I don't know if you know netball, which is like basketball.
Okay.
It's for Jamaica, for my country, on the international stage. So it's like a basketball pro player. And at that time, I was in charge of setting up the players to get that goal in. So then you had to take the lead on that. So I think from there, I realized that I can lead people, right, to achieve their goal. And I think that's where my path started. And then it evolved, to where I am today.
I love that. That you saw, and then you realized that helping others to achieve the goal together, everyone was actually achieving the goal, and you were really lifting them up. That's a beautiful story. I don't remember you saying that before. So that is beautiful, Charmaine. Thank you for that. Now, talk about Jamaica. That's where you hail from, Jamaica. When did you come to Florida?
1990, don't remember the exact date, but in the 90s, I had a company in Jamaica. I had a chemical company. And then I got married and I came to the States. I still had my business in Jamaica, and then I sold it. Megan and Shauna, you're here. You need to go to Facebook Live on Stacey page. I think we sent out this Zoom link, but Stacey's asking everyone to go to her page. So thank you, madam. Thank you, Megan. Yeah, I had that company and I was still doing both Jamaica and the States. And then I sold the company, talking about industrial chemicals. And then I went to work for a major credit card company, and I was their fraud analyst.
Oh.
And then I evolved from that into real estate.
Wow. Wow. Okay, great. So now what year did you get into real estate?
In 2006, well, 2005, we tried to purchase a home, and the realtor at the time was basically steering us into areas that would not work for my husband and I. Renee, switch to Facebook Live, please. Yes, thank you. And my husband decided that we're not doing this because what we wanted was not what we were getting from the realtor. So he made me a proposal that if I did the class and I got my real estate license, he would throw me a huge birthday party. So I took 2 weeks vacation from my corporate job and I did the class, got my license, and I got the party.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So that's how I got into real estate, and I still kept my full-time job, and I used to do it part-time, helping my friends, etc., as we go along. And I went in full-time, I think in 2012, when my husband got really sick and, eventually died. But I think, and I say it all the time, I am his legacy. Because who knew that in 2005, when he was pushing me from the corporate job into real estate, where I could, my time is my own. Mm-hmm. I could do whatever I need to do. I could make money. I could work hard or don't work hard. Mm-hmm. He was setting me up for what was to come, then, put it that way.
That's so true. And what a beautiful way to look at that analogy, right? It was a gift, and he was giving you a gift because of what was to come. And so that is beautiful. Charmaine, thank you for sharing that. Now, when I've been at your Florida meetings, I distinctly remember with the theme that you came up with, leading with your heart. I want you to talk about your vision for that and how that has impacted your great state of Florida.
I believe strongly my culture is to be kind, to give grace. Mm-hmm. And I remember coming into Women Council, and the first day I walked into my network, I remember how I was treated. And I said to myself, when I decided to go further in Women Council, go up the ladder, I said, if I reach there, that is one thing that I'm going to do. It's one ask that I'm going to ask of all our members, just to be kind, just to lead with love. So we had, I think we had 3 slogans, whatever you want to call it, tagline. And one of them I remember was out of many, we are one. And the lead with love, love the journey. And another one I don't remember. So I had those 3 and I could not decide which one. So what was the best thing to do? Throw it out to the people who'd be leading in 2023. And can I tell you, I know everyone say it, but I have the best local network presidents ever. I threw it out to these guys and they voted on it. And we won Lead with Love, Love the Journey. Instead, we created the logo and we, you know, that is how every network within the state of Florida, that's how we are leading, you know. And sometimes you have to really dig deep, because sometimes you have to love, sometimes hurt. So although you're leading with love, things will happen that you're wondering, why should I be so accommodating? You know, I'm leading with love, I'm trying my best, because this is a leadership job. It's a job and things happen. But then you have to dig deep, press that reset button and continue. Because if this is how our culture for 2023 and beyond is, we need to embrace it. And that's what we are doing here in Florida.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just love how you included all of your local networks, all 27 of them, right?
Yes. Yes.
And you brought them into the fold, and they felt probably even more value because you asked them, you included them. And so the buy-in was probably so much easier. And I see that love. And I just love how you guys are always doing this, you know, when I visit, and that means so much, because boy, we can really make a difference when we lead, and we lead with grace. And so that's a beautiful story for all of you members that are out there listening, even in different states. This was the process that Charmaine went through to get to her theme of the year and what they wanted to project as a leadership team. And so that is beautiful. Now, can we talk about a day that you just had in the state of Florida? And I believe it was your We Care Day. Can you tell all of our listeners out there what that was, how you organized it, and what the result was?
Oh, so now you're going to make me cry.
I'm sorry.
So there are certain goals I have for Florida, and coming off the same steps of Lead with Love, Love the Journey. I'll tell you quickly, because I know we don't have a lot of time, but I'll tell you quickly. Growing up, my parents were all about giving back. Sometimes I wonder if our door was like a revolving door with people coming in, going out. People used to come and my mom or my dad would hand them packages, right? So I grew up in a situation where you need to give back. If you have $1 and someone wants whatever, you need to share. So when my dad died, and I took him to Jamaica, he died here. Okay. Took him back to Jamaica. At his funeral, I saw buses of people coming to that service. And when we were taking him out of the church, there was a band playing kids, and my sisters and I could not understand what was going on, where the sea of people and kids came from. So we inquired, And we were told that my dad used to support, give back to the community, used to pay for school feeding program, books, so many things that he used to do for the community that we did not know about. And then when I think back, I remember even when he was here with me in Florida and he goes shopping, he would buy kids' clothes. Now, my mom died about 5 years before that. Kids' clothes, things for kids. And I remember calling my sister and I said, Daddy have a girlfriend because he's buying kids' clothes. But it was things to give back. So when we found out that's what he was doing, we decided to start a foundation in my parents' honor. And we established that. My father is March, my sister is March, they're both the 22nd, the 23rd. We have done over 500 support of scholarship and kids for those 2 schools in Jamaica. So I wanted to do something in Florida. So we decided to do We Care Day for all the networks in Florida on the same day. So although they're doing their individual charity work, because these networks are really giving back to their charity, but I said how effective it would be if on this day we all went out there, every single network went out there and gave back. And can I tell you, I was blown away. I knew these girls were good. These president-elect, entire board members went out there. And the charities that I see them supporting, you're talking about physical work, landscaping, group homes, doing the landscape. I
saw painting. They were painting houses.
They were painting houses. They were working in horse stable, right?
Yeah.
They were doing so many things. We have one president who, and she put it out there so I can say it, who has a parent who is incarcerated. And that network did a give back to kids whose parents are incarcerated. Now, we don't know about these members until we created this We Care Day. And it will not be just a day, because some networks did day by day for the entire month. But they planted trees in parks. They did animal shelter. They fed the homeless. And I was bawling my eyes out that day, just how proud I was, how emotional it was for me. It was a call to action for us to give back, and they gave back also to the people who give back to the community. Simple thing, they bought coffees for, I think, one of the fire station or something to social workers. So it doesn't take money to give back. It doesn't take money. It just needs to take what is in here for you to share what you have, and just
your time and your heart, right?
Time and your heart, man. That's it.
Well, I tell you, I could see it from Arizona. I could see all the posts of all your local networks and what they were doing. And I thought the collaboration was just so beautiful. And I love that it stemmed from your parents. Your parents showed you the way, and then you're carrying it on and sharing it with your local networks. And I love that the whole state embraced We Care Day. And I mean, I think it should be a national thing. I think you should take this to national, Charmaine. It is beautiful. And People saw, people realized what was happening. And I just thought it was wonderful. And I loved how everyone was doing something different, and maybe it was geared toward what their community need was, or like you said, we never know what someone is going through, and that one network helping that other member for what she was going through, and always having grace. But it was beautiful. It was wonderful to see from afar.
Yeah, but I can tell you, I had the vision, but it was executed by a chair. We had the chair, Cassie. She was the chair, and we have a team, a project team, the presidents and their board. So I just gave them the vision, and they knocked it out. So,
that's wonderful.
I just want to say thank you to these guys for really making me feel good.
Oh, well, thank you to Cassie and her team, and then for everyone to have the buy-in and to follow through and really make a difference, not only in the state of Florida, but the world, because that's just the ripple effect. It really is. So it's a vision and then executing. So it was wonderful to see. Now I want to talk about something that is very unique. You have a leadership academy in Florida, and your leadership academy is called LEAP. So let's talk about how this is having a ripple effect on your state of Florida to your members.
Okay, so LEAP was started, I think, 2 years ago.
Okay.
And LEAP is learn, expand, acquire, and prepare. And we thought that what better way to build our leadership bench. We always think about the state, but it's not just the state that need a leadership bench. It's the local network, because that's where everything starts. So in LEAP, we want to identify the members who are potential leaders then, and help them to develop their leadership skill, their knowledge of Women Council, help them with public speaking, help them with collaboration. So it's a 1-year program. And I know this year, I cannot tell you how many applications we had, but it was not easy to narrow it down to 10.
Oh.
But this year, we had so many applicants. And what we did for the people who were not selected this year, we put them on state committee and project teams. And what that did is still expose them at another level. Because when you look at the local network, you walk through the door and then you're tapped to be membership director or whatever. What if we mold these people now? Because you don't know what you don't know. So what if we take these people, train them and coach them and prepare them to sit in these seats? It would have a serious ripple effect, and it would also help the leadership bench for the local network. And they in turn could be that coach and that contact person for their network. So that's our LEAP program. And I have shared it with a number of states. Anyone want it, call us, anyone in Florida, and we will give you all the information on our LEAP program.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And so the LEAP program, for everyone that's listening out there, that is the leadership program within the state of Florida that they use to build their leadership bench. And it's working very, very well. Yes. And that's how they identify and just lift others up within their state. So what a wonderful program to have and continue to provide value for our members. I want to talk now, Charmaine, about who first tapped you on the shoulder for leadership. You talked about when you came from Jamaica to the United States and you got involved, and how your network just embraced you immediately. But when did that first tap come on the shoulder to say, you know what, we see you up there. We see that you have potential.
I remember I think our president at the time, there was a situation and I was asked to step in. And my plan was just to step in and leave because that was not my focus. I love the network and I love the education, but that was not my focus. But then we had our district conference. Those are the days we were having district conference. And I was the liaison for the state president. So, it's like a big job. The state president is coming to your network. Oh my God, right?
Yes.
I was over the moon. I got there early and I sat down and I waited on her to come to the hotel because, you have to make sure a hotel is fine.
Yeah.
The basket is in her room, everything that you need to do. And I was so nervous. And then she walked in. I never met her. But then she walked in and she said, "Hey, Charmaine, how you doing?" And she hugged me. And oh, did she really hug me? And we sat by the pool and we spoke maybe for about half an hour before we went to dinner with the team. And when I listened to her, I was like, wow. And then the next day at the district conference, I saw her there doing her presentation. And her presentation was about balance, how you can balance your real estate career with leadership. Mm-hmm. And I soaked it all in. And that day I said, yeah, one day, I'm going to be standing there talking about maybe not balance, but that's when I drank that Kool-Aid.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that story because it just brings you back to where
that was J. Arvin.
Okay, I was going to ask you who it was.
Yeah. That was J. Arvin, and she will be the Florida state president, Florida, next year. She's now the president-elect. That was J. Arvin.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is wonderful. I love that. And it's so true. Nothing happens by accident, right, Charmaine? When we look back at our life and who we accidentally run into or we meet at a coffee shop or in line at a convention or something like that. So how Charmaine and I got to know each other is National asked us to speak on membership in a box with two other members, Rochelle from Oregon and Elise from Ohio. And so that's how we got to know each other. So we worked virtually online for a couple weeks, I think about 6 weeks. And then we did a program for National. And so that's how we got to know each other. And always, I've just been so impressed, Charmaine, how you just always use your heart when you lead. And that goes into exactly what your theme was for the year. But I can see that shines through and through. So that's something that I've always admired about you. Now, I want to talk about leadership. And, we did just talk about balance just a bit. And I always say that we can put systems in place to have our sales and do our real estate job, but also increase our leadership line at the same time. Now, sometimes there's got to be a little give and take. They're not always equal, but we're always trying for equal. But let's talk, candidate, about your leadership. Like, what is probably one of the hardest moments this year, and how did you persevere and get through it?
I think I'm laughing. Natalie and those girls probably, there. The hardest moment for me is when I know I have to make a decision that might not be a popular decision. But when I make decisions, and our team will tell you, and our presidents, 2023 fabulous best presidents, just saying, they will tell you that I don't make decisions that is personal, and I encourage them not to. We make decisions not for the 10% or the 20%. We make the decision for majority of our members. And sometimes that decision that we make can mean that we fall, but we just have to get up. I had to make a really decision that I cried over it. I went back to my hotel room and I called our executive line and I said, this is what's going on and I have to make that decision. And they did not, they know me. These girls know me. They know what I say is whatever. I'm not going to, go around the bush. I'm just going to say it. And I said, this is what needs to happen. And I said, give me your feedback. What do you say? And they totally agree. So that decision meant that we had to remove someone from a position. Not one, just two people from a position. And we looked at what would happen when that, because that was not a popular decision. You know me, I don't do popularity. But we had to make the decision, which was the best decision, not just for the network, but for the state. And we knew that we had to do the work now after we made that decision. And we all committed to doing that. And we're getting through it. We're getting through it. Teething pain still, but I have no regrets of making that decision. Our team is pushing through and we're good now.
Right. It's always making the decision for the best of the organization and not ourselves. And sometimes that's not easy. So I commend you for that, really. Sometimes leadership is not easy. Now, I love, this is one of my very favorite questions. Charmaine Hickey, were you born a leader?
Okay, and then how I would answer that is, I don't think I was born a leader per se. I think that all of us were born with various leadership traits, right? But if as you go on in life, depending on where you are, you can choose to lead or you can choose to follow. And if you're going to say lead to push you outside of your comfort zone, then you need to educate yourself and embrace all the qualities that it takes for you to be the best leader possible. So all those traits or all those whatever you need to do, then you need to learn so that you can be the best leader possible. So I think I was not born a leader, but I became a leader because I put in the work. And that's why I love that slogan, leaders are made here. You can do a million training and tell people to lead and train them how to be leaders in their network, but you have to want to be that leader to learn so you can lead, if that makes sense.
Amen to that. I love that.
Leaders are made, yes, but you have to want to make somebody make you.
You have to say yes to that tap on the shoulder and be willing.
Yes. Yeah. And not just yes, because you need to, fill a gap or add a line on your resume. You have to say yes and own that yes.
And then do the work, right?
Do the work. Own the yes, do the work, and make sure if you're going to do it, it gives you joy.
Yes.
Right? It gives you, if it don't, then it's okay to step back.
Right. Right. Enjoy the journey and have fun with it, because we're all learning constantly, and we're growing together. And that's what is so wonderful. It's really the common thread that really just connects all of us in our leadership journey. And it is a beautiful thing.
Yes.
It really is. It really is. Well, thank you for sharing that. What is your best piece of advice, would you say, Charmaine, that someone has given you in your leadership journey?
I think the best advice, well, I get so many advice, and again, it's depending on where you are.
Sure.
But right now in this seat, one of the best advice is to listen to our members. Because if we focus on that pyramid, the members are at the top, right?
Right.
So if we move that top block of members, what do you have? Nothing. So the best advice for me is to listen to our members, to make sure that we can get their feedback, make sure that we have clarity, make sure that we include them, inclusivity, right? Each network is different. We have a smaller network, medium, large. What work for one don't work for the other. Come back with the same thing with national. What work in Florida won't work in a state with 2 or 3 networks. So we need to listen. We need to get the members, and we do it in Florida, from different networks, different size, and get their feedback. Right. I travel around the state, and I go to the networks. Next week, I think I have 3 networks, and we sit down, and I just want to hear from them. What can we do different? What is something that you would love to see happen? Why did you say why? And when you said why, what made you stay for your why, and what would keep you here? So it's not like we just bring you in and let you go. And that's why member in a box is so important. You know, we did an additional refreshness course training about 2 weeks ago with our membership directors and I think our president-elect. But it is to keep refreshing this whole, what do you do? Need to listen to these people that you're bringing in. Ask them before they come in, before you take their $200, what do they expect to get out of this? Now, after you put that money in your account, you go back and you follow up on what else can we do to gain your trust, to gain your continued buy-in to Women Council. And that's what we do here in Florida. And I'm sure we do it all across the nation. You know, and if we're not doing it across the nation, that's what we should be doing, listening to our members.
I love that. I love that. One of our biggest jobs as leaders is to listen. That's why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? But I love that you said, and what can we do to continue to keep you here? What do you need? And I think that's the magic. That's a magic sauce. That's a magic question.
You know,
because,
as we always say, it's a relationship business.
Yes.
It's a relationship business. And Women Council is not for everyone. But if you step through our doors and you say, look, I'm just here for the education, or I'm just here to do leadership so I can go be leadership in my community, in my association, we'll embrace you same way. We will love on you the same way, whether you're going up the leadership bench in the local network, or if you're going to take what we are providing here out into the community, because that's why we make leaders here. And we take it a step further in Florida. And I know I might get flack for this, but hey, I'm used to it. Leaders made here, but educated leaders are made in Florida. Because that's one of our biggest goals for 2023. We're going to educate you on women council culture, on leadership skills, on collaboration, right? We're also going to educate you how to grow your business and grow yourself.
That's right.
Because we can talk until we blue about leadership and women council, but if we are not educating you on how to put money in your pocket to grow your real estate business, then you won't have the money to pay that $200 to remain a member.
Amen. Amen.
So what we are doing, we have already started our education series, and that is learn more to earn more. So we do 4 virtual educational series. I think one is later this week on the new condo laws and changes in Florida. That will help our members to grow their business. That will educate them how to go out and advise their buyers or their sellers, right?
Yes.
And that will give them the confidence to speak on the new laws, right? That will make them also a leader in their farm area, because they're the ones who are educated on all these changes.
Yes.
So that's what we're doing here. So hats off to our education team, for putting that together.
That's wonderful. I love that. And that's exactly, we need to educate at the same time we help them in their leadership ladder, and we can balance both. And it's just all about putting systems in place and educating ourselves. I absolutely love that. I do have some wonderful stats here to share with you today, Charmaine. 85% of all consumer purchases in the US are made by women. Women over the age of 50 have a combined net worth over $20 trillion. And 60% of all the personal wealth in the United States is held by women. This is pretty staggering good stats that I have. And it just furthermore just convinces us that we've got a job to do by educating our women and by helping them in their leadership, because there's a lot of responsibility that comes with those stats. And I know from NAR, there's, I think it's about 76% of realtors are women. And so we are out there, we are visible. We just need to get more women to have the confidence to raise their hand and say, yes, I can do this. And then the second part of that is that we need to have our community wrap their arms around them and help them, connect them with the people that they maybe need to know, or the classes they need to take, and help lift them up as they climb in their leadership ladder. And I believe we are doing that. We just need to continue to do that, because the stats also tell us that only about 20% of us women are actually sitting in those chairs at NAR and taking those leadership positions. So we can do better, because there's 75%, 76% of us that are women as realtors. So we want to continue to keep doing what we're doing. We are making a difference and an impact on the world, I believe. And so I love what you're doing down there in Florida, and you're really making a difference. Now, I want to talk a little about a major investor. Let's talk about what Florida has in place and what you do. It's a little more unique than anywhere I've seen in the country. So please talk about that, Charmaine.
Okay, so a few years ago, And this idea came from our one of our past president, Paige Brewer,
Okay.
about major investors, because when we look at the number of major investors within Women Council, we wanted to find a way to recognize these members. And typical Page, a late night call could be 12, 1 o'clock. Charmaine, I have an idea. And, you know, yeah, I blessed it. So for you to get one of these pins, I don't know if you can see my major investor pin, you had to be a realtor. You had to be a major investor, but the biggest thing, you had to be a Women Council member. Okay. In 2021, we had 242 major investors who were Women Council members. In 2022, we had 633 major investors. 633.
That's amazing.
So, Florida Realtors totally is about 238,000 members.
Wow.
Of that, less than 1% is Women Council members, right?
Yes.
We now are, I think we are now at 49% of the total major investor in the state of Florida.
Woo, that is amazing.
Yes. So we have appointed an RPAC ambassador, Cindy Hayden.
Okay.
And her job is to go around the state when the local network decide when they're doing their pinning, because it's a big thing. It's a big thing to wear this pin. So when the local networks decide then they're going to do their event, Cindy Hayden will go to the event, and we encourage to bring every realtor from wherever. They don't need to be Women Council members, but we want all these realtor members to be there to see maybe 5 in the network, 10 in the network. One network have 28 members, to see these awesome major investor for RPAC stand there and get their pin, and also use it as education so that our members can know what is RPAC, how RPAC, they can use RPAC to bring in members, how they can really let our members understand the benefit of RPAC, because a lot of people don't know, and that's what we are doing. I know we are at, as I said, 633, to ask Natalie, our first vice president, to get us 200 more, because we thought coming from 242, we only needed to order 500 pins. So we had to order 200 more. But, you know, hey, I say everyone across Women Council Nation should get behind the major investor thing for your network. It's a good way to bring in others. And education as well.
Yes. Okay. So you have to be a realtor member. You have to be a Women's Council member. And what else? And then the major investor.
A major investor.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I love that. And I believe that do you call that Into the Blue, or what do you call that? Okay.
Well, we call it Into the Blue.
Okay.
We have a special reception at conference.
Okay.
So you don't get to come if you're not a major investor.
Okay.
You know, we try to make it just include the major investors.
Sure.
And then someone said, oh my God, I can't get to go there. Well, go be a major investor. And then we show you ways to reach that minimum of $1,000, because you don't need to just write a check for $1,000.
Right.
But we coach them on the auction, etc. You know, and then the other goal we have is to get at least 75%. I think it's 75. I could be wrong. Okay. Whatever number think 75% of all our members to contribute even that $25 to
That's
our
wonderful.
fund. So,
Right.
you know, we have a couple goals, but that's one of them that we're trying to put in
Well,
place.
that's fantastic. Those numbers are staggering, and it really means so much.
Yeah.
Advocacy is so important in our industry because, you know, we must advocate. One of the leaders I heard speak in Tucson, he was the government affairs person at the time, and he spoke about, you know, advocacy is like a ship, and if we don't get involved in our own industry, someone else will drive the ship. So it's very easy. We just need to be involved because it benefits not only our clients in our communities and the gift of home ownership, but it also affects us as our jobs as realtors. It's almost like an insurance policy, really, if you look at it, the aspect of agents. So advocacy is so very important, and those are just wonderful numbers. So all of you members that are out there, maybe in different states, think about coming up with a program similar to what Florida does. I have attended Into the Blue, and it is just, it's like an event on steroids. It was very, very impressive. So hats off to Florida for all that you're doing for advocacy for our industry. So I thank you so much for that. I do want to talk a little about referrals within the Women's Council. The current survey, I think, that Chris Lee talks about is the #1 reason why members join Women's Council is because of referrals. So Charmaine, let's talk about referrals within the council and how that has looked for you and your business.
I love referrals. Last week I got 2. Last month I got 1. It was a rental, but it was a rental for about $3,500.
Yeah.
I think referral, when I'm trying to find someone to refer to, the first thing I do is look for a women council member. And I get a lot of calls or email from other states, come through the president's office, I call it, so that I can, you know, send that out to different areas across the state of Florida. Referral is great when you know the person on the other end is going to be very professional. Person is going to be honest. That person is very credible, right? That person is going to take care of your buyer or seller just like how you would. It is like, I know I have a sister or a brother who I can say, hey, go take care of this for me. And I know that it is done, right? So it is the confidence you have to send that referral and know that that deal will be closed.
Absolutely.
And also the way they will treat that person, right? It's family, man.
That's right. And it's the level of confidence you have within the council to refer to one of our members, because you know that level of professionalism is going to shine through and through, and it's going to reflect on you of who you are referring. That is a reflection. So I love that analogy, Charmaine. That was wonderful. Now let's turn the wheel just a minute, or the ship rather, right? Because we were talking about the leadership ship, right? Let's talk about Friday afternoons. I love this. One of my visits down to Florida, you talked about Friday afternoon of what you do, and don't call you. It is your time to relax, and it's part. I just love it though. I mean, I just think it's great because you know what? It's about self-care, right? It's about taking time for yourself, and you are just so candid and upfront about it. And so talk about that, because I do love that.
You know, I tell you all the while, these people in Florida think that I'm a little cuckoo, and it's okay. I just feel I need time away from you all. It's as simple as that. I need time to breathe. When I'm present, I'm present. I show up for you guys, whether you call me Monday, no, I should say Sunday to Friday, 4 o'clock. It doesn't matter, 8, 9 o'clock, they call me, I show up. I'm here for them. Don't call me after 5 o'clock on a Friday. Call me back 9 o'clock the Saturday morning. Friday, it's my time to melt down, to breathe, to turn off my phone, to just don't do anything, but to clear my head and reset. And I don't even think about business or anything. And if I don't turn off my phone, but I put it on silent. But if I see it going beep, 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 I'm like, oh my God, everyone knows. If they don't know, then they will figure it out. But if I see like someone from my executive line calling me, I might answer, but I said, if the person, not being disrespectful, the person is sick, call the doctor. If they die, call the undertaker. I cannot do anything from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock the next day. I'm sorry. That's my time.
Yeah. And I love that you're setting up those boundaries and those parameters. And like you said, it is your time to reset. And then when you come back, you're even a better leader because you're fresh. You've maybe analyzed a situation or looked at it different of all the information that came in during the week for you. And that's your self-care time. And I love that you put that out there and you set the boundaries right away. And I've never seen another state leader do it. So that's why I brought it up.
It's not just for Women Council. My kids know.
Yes.
My significant other know. He knows that, no, that's my time.
That's your time. Well, that's what you have to do. I love that. Charmaine, unfortunately, we're getting close to the end. I mean, I feel like I could just talk to you for hours. You're such a wealth of information. Is there any statements that you would like to leave the audience and our wonderful Women's Council members with today? Any closing comments?
So I just want our members right across Women Council nation to know that they need to be honest. For me, honesty is a big thing. You need to be honest. You need to be yourself. Can you believe with all of my faults, my failures, because I've had failed marriages, I've had this, I've had that. Today, I am the president of this state. I want our members to know that anything is possible, but it cannot be possible if you don't own your story, right?
Yes.
If you don't own the things that bring you to where you are, if you don't own that piece, that little piece that bring you joy, bring you happiness. Because I read this book, Life is so much better with a plan B, because when you have a plan A and that plan A fail, you must have a plan B. And sometimes the plan B is better. So do what bring you joy and continue. And I'll end it with my smile because I need to continue to show up, continue to motivate each other, continue to inspire each other, continue to lead and listen and love on each other, and continue to enjoy the ride as we lead with love and love the journey.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Charmaine, and thank you, audience and members and friends within the council and just everywhere, everyone that's watching today. This is the wonderful Charmaine Hickey. She is the 2023 Florida State President. And she does own her story, and she does lead with love, and she does have a plan B. Thank you for sharing you with us today, Charmaine. It has been an honor and a privilege to interview you. And I wish you all the success in the future. You're doing a wonderful job for the council. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.